Which villain did you secretly hope would win? The guy from Lazy Town. He just wanted a quiet town. You moved to Lazy Town to be lazy, it's in the bloody name. If I wanted an active and fit lifestyle, I'd not have moved to Lazy Town. Wile E. Coyote. Tom also gets a lot of grief for just trying to catch a mouse, you know. Doing his F-King job. It's really weird how in a lot of old cartoons the villain was either being forced into it by someone else, Tom, Sylvester, or they were literally just trying to survive. Wile E. Any of the various predators. Like, at least Elmer was just hunting for sport. They never made it seem like his family would starve if he didn't get the kill. I always wanted Tom give Jerry his comeuppance. You think Tom was the villain? Tom was a good cat. Jerry was a squatter and a thief. I don't think we're meant to side with Tom, so he's portrayed as a villain. I agree wholeheartedly that Jerry is a straight-up moocher with the appetite of a T-Rex. Tom is doing his due diligence, otherwise that family would spend hundreds of thousands on groceries every month. I used to laugh at those videos. Now I just feel really bad for Tom. Most of the time he is completely in the right. And Jerry is just holding all the cards. Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Yes. His inventions were brilliant, self-destruct buttons aside, and he never got the praise he deserved. He's redeemed in Milo Murphy's Law. Team Rocket. They deserve something for being so dedicated. They've been chasing after the same Pikachu for over 20 years. I never wanted them to get Pikachu. But I did want them to at least get something. At least once. I was saying to my wife last night that if they just gave up chasing Pikachu, they could make excellent lives for themselves. Look at the skills they have and how happily they do all these jobs when they are undercover. D. Dastardly from the Wacky Races. The only time he actually won a race, he was disqualified because of slow-motion footage showing him extending the nose of his vehicle to do so. Which is greatly unfair because when the lumberjack did something similar in a previous episode by stretching his neck to put himself in front, he wasn't disqualified for doing so. Sylar from Heroes. Gerard Butler's character in Law-Abiding Citizen. One of the few times when I hated that the good guys won. Dr. Horrible. Yes. Sadly he brought the world to their knees and all it cost him was a penny. The prettiest penny. Ozymandias from The Watchmen. And he did. Dan. I'm not a Republic serial villain. Do you seriously think I'd explain my master stroke if there remained the slightest chance of you affecting its outcome? I did it 35 minutes ago. Such a great villain line. Makes me want to punch and respect him at the same time. I will always root for Plankton. Wasn't it revealed that he actually treats employees well? But this backfired when he finally got SpongeBob, only to learn that SpongeBob becomes a lazy F-cur if he doesn't have somebody on his what's his name from Princess and the Frog? Friends on the Other Side was catchy enough to warrant such a response from me. I call him Shady Waluigi. I didn't really root for him. But I sympathized with Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. That the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth image kinda got to me. For real. I like it when the villain is right. But they go too far. I feel the same about Loki. Like, he was lied that he would be king, then one day Odin goes, lol nope, your birthright was to die, you're adopted, lel. I mean, who wouldn't be salty after that? But I feel like trying to conquer another planet is just a little bit of a tantrum. Roy in Blade Runner. The replicants are literally just trying to survive. Every act of violence by them is defensive except for deaths of Tyrell and Sebastian. And even those killings are somewhat warranted given the two of them are deeply responsible for creating a literal slave undercaste. TLDR, Blade Runner portrays a failed slave uprising. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die. Single quote. Not a coincidence that that quote is the most well-known one of the film. I think. General Hummel. From The Rock Dude's actions were extreme. But he was doing it for the right reasons. He and his men did clandestine operations for the US military. And when his men did their job, fought, died for their country, the country then turned their back and didn't provide the benefits for the men and their families. I wish the government would have just paid what they owed. And fixed the situation from the jump. He was the antagonist. But was he technically a villain? Doofenshmirtz. I always kinda felt bad for the guy and wanted him to win at least once. He had the super sad backstory. I also sympathized with Candace. She never wanted to punish her brothers for being creative, and she even asked for their help on occasion. All she wanted was to prove to her mom that she wasn't crazy. And was too blinded by her own stubbornness to just let herself have fun with them. But she always loved them and they loved her. Moriarty from the TV show. Why the F did he just suicide himself? Utter waste of a great character. I hoped he would succeed at his plan. Did you miss me? Jurassic Park. I'm not sure if they were the bad guys. I wanted the park to win and keep the dinosaurs contained. I just wanted a movie where the plot just followed people around the park and park employees said things like, "Looks like we've had a power failure in the dino electric fence. Oh good, the emergency power kicked in. Send maintenance down to check it out. Turns out it was just a bad sensor that needed to be replaced." We spared no expense. Bowser. I just want him and his kids to be happy. He was a villain? He seemed pretty friendly with the other guys in Sha Na Na. Thrawn. He's too good to lose. Kin Thraws. Hector was the actual hero in the Iliad. He fought Achilles knowing he was fighting basically a demigod, so there was no chance to win. But he did it anyway to protect his complete idiot pussy little brother and his home. Achilles was given literal cheat codes to fighting and was still vain. Arrogant and selfish. The Ice King in Adventure Time. Yeah, he's up there with Bowser on being a princess kidnapper. But if the episode Princess Monster Wife was anything to go by, he's just a sweet old man who wants companionship. He got a happy ending eventually. I low-key want all villains to win when either the hero is aided by explainable events in a real-world setting or the hero's attitude or personality is unlikable to me. I'm right here with you. I usually say, I root for whoever puts in the work. I regularly see stories where the villain spends years preparing their plans and does everything right, but loses to a hero who gets lucky. It's a tie between Killmonger and Magneto. Both had crappy lives and demanded justice, revenge. Both characters are kind of based on the same person. I loved their, by any means necessary, stories. Magneto. Yes. Even as a kid I was like, let's hear him out. Gargamel. F those Smurfs and their stupid hats. Go watch Pixels. Megamind. Didn't he win? He also kind of became a good guy when he was winning. The Night King. F Westeros and all their petty squabbles. This is the one Asuyaf mentioned here I agree with. I wanted them to tear through the world because everyone else was so petty and stupid. Gustavo Fring. The BB and BCS team have made the villain character into an art form. Obviously. The Nazis and Salamancas are groups that you want to go down. But Gus, Walter, Saul all had pretty messed up intentions and yet you still find yourself rooting for them. Never watched a show that is able to write a bad guy to be so likable. Lalo has become my new favorite character on BCS. One of the best villains in both shows. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. He was just doing his job. Sonic caused a worldwide power outage that probably hurt people. Dr. Robotnik tries to do his job and get rid of a dangerous alien and he is thrown into another dimension. May I add, the government hired Drive Robotnik to take down Sonic but is totally cool with Sonic at the end of the movie. Why? Light in Death Note. He went too far. But he has the right general idea. After L died, Light should have gotten away with it. He was too clever to deserve to be beaten by the rest of the Duma investigation team and Nier. I strongly agree that Light shouldn't have been bested by Nier and co. But even so, I think it was appropriate that in the end, Light lost. He should have just lost to somebody else in a better written manner. He got too confident, especially concerning the people he used as pawns. And his ego outgrew his mission. Lokahe's actually a good guy and I love him. He killed 80 people in 2 days. He's adopted. Mr. Freeze animated series. I kinda wanted to see him literally and figuratively ice the CEO who unhooked Nora from the cryogenic chamber and pushed Freeze into the chemicals that caused his condition. In that same breath, Two-Face as well. Rupert Thorne got off way too lightly in my opinion for what he'd done. Littlefinger. It would have been a better ending than the one we got. Emo. I agree. It's not dragons or even Dany's incipient madness that precipitated her decline into a tyrant that I cannot suspend my belief for, it's the fact Littlefinger, the man who orchestrated the War of Five Kings, was impetuous enough to arrive at Winterfell without a contingency plan established. The man possessing the political acumen he did and how elaborate his machinations were. How can the writers be justified in his incongruous recklessness because he ostensibly was infatuated by Sansa? Book Littlefinger was conceited. His self-preservation and ambitions would have compelled him to have at least one evasive plan. All the subterfuge and deceptions, and he was killed by his own lust for the daughter of a woman he coveted. Book Littlefinger was always circumspect and he loved himself more than any woman. Bruce Willie's character in The Jackal. Pain, Nagato. The philosophy of cycle of pain made some sense. It really did. It's easy to see why someone would begin seeing the world that way. Experience enough pain and suffering. You'll see a world of it. What separates those who are cheery and happy is that they haven't suffered egregiously. On a neurological level, it makes sense too. We remember extreme pain and hurt because it enables us to better survive. Bad Horse. Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Dude has more tragedy in his backstory than a shonen protagonist. And the worst King part? He was always told, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. No matter how big or small. His struggles never mattered to anyone else. No wonder his best friends were the moon and a balloon. The Coyote from The Coyote and the Roadrunner. It was so annoying how the Roadrunner got away with everything. Kylo Ren. Definitely a more interesting character than Rey. Hannibal Lecter. He did win, if you think about it. At the end of Silence of the Lambs, he escaped from custody. It was heavily implied that he tracked down Drive Chilton, who teased and tormented Lecter maliciously, and murdered him. And he then disappeared, later being revealed in Hannibal that he made it to Florence, Italy. Even after getting nabbed there, he escaped again, killed some of his captors, allowed Mason Verger to be eaten by his man-eating pigs, and still survived the events of the film, being shown on a plane flying away to an unknown destination. Thanos. One of the things that really bothered me about Avengers Infinity War is the whole part not killing Vision to get rid of the Mind Stone. Even though she tries to do it anyway at the end. They sacrificed thousands of Wakandans. Any Avenger would gladly give up their life in a fight or to save the universe, see Black Widow. And then of course Thanos kills half the universe. It was crazy selfish of them. Bellatrix is so evil, she killed Dobby and Sirius, but I still kind of wanted her to make it out alive. And I'd much rather a Bellatrix standalone movie than the garbage Fantastic Beasts series. Helen Bonham Carter was hot as Bellatrix and I'm mostly straight. Helena Bonham Carter is just hot, tbh.